Hello, everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day at this time slot, we are doing great FileMaker training. It is 1 o'clock Pacific time. Sorry for those of you, it's middle of the night or early morning. I do apologize for that. Today is a very exciting day because we have a major update from Claris. In fact, it's already hitting FileMaker. Well, it's marketing calls it 2025, engineering and the developer community is calling it FileMaker 22. So I want to welcome all of you here. There's a bunch of you on Discord. We're broadcasting in high definition on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to introduce the other person who's part of the show here. This is Rick Kalman. Rick Kalman is one of the biggest advocates for the developer community within the Claris Corporation, which is really a division of Apple at the end of the day. So when Rick is down there talking, he's looking out for our best interests, as well as trying to make sure that everyone down there at Claris understands what our interests are. He's not the only one, but he's one of the big ones. Really glad to have him back at Claris. So today is, I guess we should kind of cover this. And if we have questions and they're reasonably on topic, everyone, please ask the question. If they're off topic, like in the weeds, Margaret's going to help run interference on that, but we have 4 weeks of FileMaker 2025 live streams, and we can have a bit of a schedule here. And Margaret's going to post a text file with all the links, everything you folks need to see about it. I also have Jacob Taylor, who's floating around, who can backstop us if we run into questions with that stuff. So I'm going to kind of go through a high altitude slideshow. I've taken the Claris slideshow and made it better, I think, in my limited opinion, or at least it makes more sense to me. And Rick is here to help kind of editorialize and comment as necessary. I want it to be confrontational. I want it to be conversational, Rick, right? It's like, hey, right? Why is this green? Right? No, we're going to have that conversation. And so it's very exciting. So let me go forward here on a slide. Let me hit the button. So this is a lot, and this is half of it. There's 2 screens of this. So let me just cover this real quick. Margaret, can you please post to Discord, YouTube, or Twitch this schedule? So what is going on starting tomorrow morning is that Claris, the corporation itself, not Richard, but Claris is going to do a live event at 8 a.m. They're doing 4 of these: tomorrow, Thursday, then Monday, and Tuesday. And for these 4 events, we kind of worked back and forth, and really Rick was a hostage negotiator, like seriously, like, if you let go of a hostage, we'll give you a pizza. Okay, right. So he did that, and what ended up happening is that we figured out that Claris has Ronnie Rios or whoever from the Claris team is going to be presenting the material, but it's only an hour. This is a huge release. Let me just say this real quick. All of you are going to start to get the sense that it's a huge release. Big. You can't cover it in an hour at all. So they have new AI features tomorrow morning at 8. Then there's like a 2 or 3 hour break, whatever that is. And at 1 p.m. Pacific, the same people who did the 8 a.m. show come on to this show and we'll do like a 5-10 minute summary, whatever that feels like to them. And then it's open Q&A the rest of it. Well, open Q&A on this topic. So that's kind of the idea, right? Does that make sense, everyone? So tomorrow is AI features. Then on Thursday, same deal again. It's AI services and FileMaker server. Okay. Once again, it's only an hour. It's not a lot of, there's only so much you can do in an hour, and then there's an hour Q&A, so really 2 hours. Friday, Claris decided to take the day off because they've been working so hard. However, my team will still be here working. We will be doing Let's Encrypt with Jacob Taylor. This is a sleeper feature of the product. Whoop, go back. I was trying to click on it. This is a sleeper feature of the product with Let's Encrypt finally in a usable sort of feature capability within FileMaker Server. You don't have to buy an SSL certificate, which means that this one feature, while everyone else in the world is going, give us more money, this one here says, how about you have $100 back every year as a gift returned to you? Because Let's Encrypt is free, and Claris supports it, now you don't have to buy an SSL certificate, most likely, and for most people. And we're going to walk you through how to do that. So all these other things are amazing, great. This is so boring, but it's the one that actually immediately saves you money, which is awesome. Jacob Taylor, you there?
I am. Yep. Welcome.
Congratulations on nailing that one, right? Yeah. Save $100 with Jacob on Friday. So Monday. So Claris gets back into it. They're back from their 3-day weekend. And what they're going to do is at 8 a.m., they're going to be doing FileMaker data sources in Claris Studio. And then once again at 1 o'clock, the same people present, come on the show, and it's open Q&A, et cetera, on that topic. Then the rest of the week is really under the hood. So what ends up happening is we have an initial under the hood session on July 15th on Tuesday, and that's at 8 a.m. And once again, the same people come back on the show. Then Claris Engineering came to me and said, Richard, we want to come on your show. I go, really? They go, yes. And I was like, wow. Okay, so Lucy Chen, who is the Margaret says she's not ever intimidated by too many people, and she was in a meeting the other day, and she was marginally intimidated by Lucy Chen. A fur ball firepower in a 4'10" package. She has been at Claris longer than I've been doing Claris stuff, and she is the vice president, I guess, of engineering. We just say it like that, right? She is the VP of engineering. So she is awesome. And if you want a no nonsense person that'll go right to the core of an issue, oof. So yeah, I like her a lot. July 17th and on Thursday, and July 18th on Friday. Once again, these are the conversations with engineering, Claris Engineering. So that's just the first 2 weeks here, right, everyone? I'm going to cover the next one. So once again, Margaret's posted all this for you. You can get the links. Then we have AI Adventures with Wim and Todd. I am not the smartest person on the planet. I'm probably the best FileMaker helicopter pilot on the planet, but that's a real niche job, right? So, so we have the people who are much smarter than me coming on the show to teach us a whole week, 2 weeks of AI. A week of AI at the FileMaker server level, and a week of AI at the FileMaker Pro level. And so this is Todd Geist. All of you know he's phenomenal. Wim DeCourt from Soliant. Both of these people are working with Claris directly. They're somewhat secretive about it because it's all NDA, but they're in a good position to come back and really educate us. So four weeks, count 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weeks of awesome training. Margaret, comments, questions up front?
At some point we should probably cover how to go download the new FileMaker, because we had someone just pop up in chat and go like, it didn't work for me. How do I go get the new FileMaker?
Do they have a current license?
They said I just bought the upgrade, but the confirmation email has a link to the license key with no download option. How do I go download?
Yeah, I am not Claris tech support in terms of downloading stuff, but I will let our volunteer here volunteer to answer that question. And it's awful quiet.
Am I your volunteer?
You have been forcibly volunteered. So if someone has a problem with their download link, who should they contact at Claris to fix that?
Probably, it's a good question. Maybe send an email to support. Usually on the first day of launch, there are some things that still need to be synced up. I know earlier in the day, there was some issues with the ESD downloads. I believe that's been corrected. But if you should be downloading something and it's out of whack, then send it to support. And if that doesn't work, send it to me and I'll get it to the right people.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I don't want everyone to overwhelm Rick with how to download this stuff request. But if you have a current license, like a 5-pack or whatever you have, you will get an email from Claris, 20 license, 20 seats, 100 seats. You'll get an email from them with the download links on how to get it. And that email should work. So if it doesn't, I would wait till the end of the day or tomorrow morning and do a reload on that page to make sure that's what Rick's talking about, making sure those download notifications are working. So with that in mind, so let's just this is kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of things that are going on with this. We're going to start at a very, very high level. We'll dig into some in the weeds. We're not going to go super deep because there's no way to cover all that in 1 hour. It's a huge release. So essentially the piece that I want to point out is that Claris's, mission, Rick, and you can talk to this, but I mean, the big thing to take away is first off is that this is the FileMaker you've been using. This is the tools you're familiar with, right? Your existing solutions should continue to work, right?
Yep.
With the idea is that you download this, you're going to have the same file format as you would have. You're going to then also have additional features just based in FileMaker Pro or Go or WebDirect. Then there's this whole AI thing, which is weeks and weeks and a lot of training that's going to go on with this. And so we're going to just touch on that briefly today. But the idea is that those are add-on capabilities that extend the platform is the whole idea. So you get better integration across the platform. Claris is trying to make the case for Claris Studio. In my limited opinion, the jury's still out on that. We'll see what happens with that. But the core products with AI embedded in them are awesome, right? So FileMaker Server with AI, FileMaker Pro, Go WebDirect with AI. It's all good stuff. Any comments, questions, Margaret, before I slide forward here?
No, I think you're good. A lot of people are sliding and saying hello. So
Hello. Yeah. Yep. So cool. And then, so this is the essential thing I just wanted to say right here. Existing solutions continue to work as expected, right? They should. Understand that there's a lot of updates well, it kind of gets to our next slide right here. So let's just talk about this briefly. So this is the operating system requirements for Pro, right? Operating system requirements for Go and for Server. Understand that in terms of interoperability, people say, well, should I download and use FileMaker? I'm going to call it 22, right? Because that's the version number that we test for. Should I download and use that today? If you have a FileMaker 21 server, then my suggestion would be to leave that server as is for the moment. Make sure it's up to date. Jacob, you want to jump in here on this, but the idea is that we're going to use 22 clients can talk to a 21 server, right, Jacob Taylor?
Correct.
So what is your recommendation? Because servers, Jacob's the guy who builds the servers for RCC. He's kind of like a junior version of Wim de Court. What is your recommendation for everyone on upgrading?
Upgrade everything immediately. Definitely never wait.
Okay. This is where static is in, and there's smoke and fire and stuff. Yeah. No. Okay.
So
yeah.
the big thing that everyone needs to know, frankly, it's not even on this slide. The big thing everybody needs to know is if you or your clients or your users or whoever you is in this case, if you go out and install Pro 22 on your computers or pull Go 22 onto your devices, it won't be able to talk to a 20 server. That is probably the biggest thing to know here. There's full cross compatibility, 22 and 21. So if you're on a 21 server, like Richard said, please be up to date. Patch up, whatever. That's all good, but you're gonna have an issue. FileMaker Pro or something's gonna tell you no, because you can't connect if it's like a 20 server or something like that. 21 good, 22, I don't know. Let us know if you have problems. Looks good so far.
Yep, good. So yeah, there's a lot of security updates with 21. So if you're on 21, please update or get with Jacob or get with your service provider. Yeah. Make sure that the server that you're on is the 21.1.
Yeah, 1.21.15 is the latest in that series, and then 22 is what was just released. 22.01.
Yeah. So just keep in mind that sometimes with the FileMaker platform, you can take two, like client and server, and they can be two versions apart. But my rule of thumb, even when we train, is I tell people just think of it as a one version spread as your max. And in this case, they're enforcing that. So that's good stuff. So for those of you wondering about this, Windows 10 and 11 work great with Pro. On the Mac, you have the current version, Sequoia and Sonoma. And with Linux, it's 2404 long-term support, which is awesome, and 2204 long-term support. And 2004, I guess, has been dropped. I don't know if that's a hard thing. They didn't test it, or you could try to install it, but why if these are free and these are working, essentially. And then on Windows Server, right, once again, 22, you can read these. This is a bunch of stuff here. Figure out which one that works for you. Real quick, so everyone knows, if we have questions at to get to the end, we can dive into this. There is a 20-page compatibility PowerPoint we can dive into. I pulled this one out because this one slide is the one that people ask about the most, if that makes sense, right? So we can look in the other one if we have time on that. We're just going to kind of scoot forward here on that. There's another slide that Claris threw out there, Unlock the Future with FileMaker. It's a bunch of AI stuff. Part of me, and I will say this to you, Rick, so let me repeat what happened before the show started. And I'm like, I haven't played with the AI stuff in this version yet. I know that Bev and some of you have been playing with it, but I got burned on, where it just wasn't compelling in the last version of FileMaker, the AI stuff. There's AI stuff out there in the world that's compelling. The stuff that Claris had done on the last version was not super compelling in my opinion. But it seems like it's better, like a lot of work's gone into it, and Todd Geis and Wim de Court are saying some really impressive things about it. So, Rick, you had a thought on that about the AI, right?
Yeah, when we were talking for the show, and you made the comment about FileMaker 2024 and the AI stuff. And so here's how I would characterize it. If you think about it, even before FileMaker 2024, we had enabled the ability to tap into Core ML and those kinds of things on Apple devices. So you've been able to do, machine learning and AI for a while. In 2024, obviously, we did a lot of additional enhancements. 2025 really takes that and offers a number of new script steps that radically simplify what you need to do in order to begin to experiment with this. And it's not until you do that you sort of get the motivation to say, let me dive into this other stuff. There is extreme, profound power now in AI in 2025. That's why we have 2 sessions on it, community live sessions coming up, and then they'll come back in the show. So one of the things if I use an analogy of an airport, we prepared the ground for the foundation, and we laid some runway so that planes can start taxiing down, ultimately taking off to flight. So we have been preparing the ground for a while, but we've now paved the runway. And so I think it's going to become interesting. My prediction is the next engages will blow people away with what you all have figured out what to do with this new world. And it's very new. I mean, it is in a way similar to anyone who's been around. We went from a flat to relational. It's that kind of thing, right? It's a new dimension that's opened up, and I think it's finally here, and there's some exciting stuff.
Very cool. So I'm going to move forward on that. We're not going to spend a ton of AI because it's a big conversation. Like I said, it'll start tomorrow morning. We've covered that. Check Margaret, make sure they have the links to that. They can dial into the Claris event and then come to our event later on the day. So this continues to be the graphic that Claris has had for a while, right? So FileMaker over here, Claris Studio over here, and then Claris Connect, which actually is becoming more successful because Apple's using quite a bit of it, and it seems to be maturing a little bit, which is nice. The AI, that Claris's idea is the AI goes everywhere, right? So once again, I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out, but it's a big deal. I think this will be, especially if we can get to the point where we talk to the AI and it can do basic construction in FileMaker for us. I don't see anything on the horizon where you're just going to talk to it and it's going to build an entire solution for you and put us out of business. That's not a reality in anything I've ever seen, but doing little things like helping to organize data imports or build a report, things like that, construction of some things, write a script that can do something, assuming you can educate it. Those are all things that would really help brand new people on board better with the platform. I think that's what we want, brand new people to come in. This overall slide, so FileMaker 2025, which is version 22. Basically, they're, once again, large language model. And we're going to leave the AI stuff largely to other days, but we have other enhancements, other things to cover. And I'm going to skip and go through with that. Margaret, if you have questions, I need you to kind of interrupt if you want. You have a interruption moment?
Not particularly. People are asking questions, but they're not necessarily on topic, and I'd like to see what we've got in 25 before I begin hosting questions. Yeah, let's do that. So once again, this is part of a slide deck. I removed a bunch of this, but there is a ton of AI-related items in here. And so these are going to be gone through over the next, say, 4 weeks or so, just to let you know that this stuff is here, and it's a lot. And so I'm really looking forward, especially when Wim and Todd talk. They're not going to steer us wrong. It's why I bring, my team does some things great. Soliant team does great things. Proof Guys does great things. Bring all of us together on a live stream, and you have one hell of an action-packed educational format. And that's what we're doing the whole month of this. So yeah, if Todd Geist and Wim DeCourt say it's true, then it's like instant credibility, which is awesome. All right. Rick, feel free to interrupt if you want.
No, I 100% agree with you. The impressions that Todd gave us about the implications of what we've done to make AI accessible to developers in the right way is, I think, will really excite people. Just an FYI, these first 3 script steps that you see here We're purposely designed to make it very, very easy with a little, very little scripting necessary to begin to begin to use semantic search on your data, and so that just those three alone, and there will be a training series associated with this coming, I think, before the end of this month from Productive Computing that is absolutely excellent. It'll accompany these new script steps, and you'll definitely want to take a look at that.
Cool. Awesome. All right, moving forward, real quick. So this is a big thing. Once again, I'm not going to dive into why this is important, but the short version is that we've been dealing with AI-related stuff at the client level on Pro for the most part. And there's now a whole tab on FileMaker Server about getting the language models or et cetera, whatever, installed on FileMaker Server. I don't know why this is important, to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to someone educating me. And not even right now, Rick. I'm just saying they're bolting this in everywhere. And so why do I care, right? And I'm looking forward to having those questions answered.
Rich, on that one, just FYI, that'll be the primary focus of Wim and Ronnie on Thursday at the Community Alive. So Todd and Ronnie will be sort of, here's all the things we did, and then Wim and Ronnie will come back in and talk about AI services on FileMaker Server and the implications of that as well.
And then we have a whole week of Wim on this topic after that, so to really deep dive. So we start off kind of high level, and then as the days go on, we get deeper into it. Yeah, pretty cool. Real quick, so pivoting forward, and I'm going to leave AI alone for the moment because that'll come back to it in a big way tomorrow. Get layout, get fields and layout functions. These are functions that people have been asking about. I went through some of these with my senior engineers today. They're pretty excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing how this get text from PDF is working, because we've had the live text previously, which was Mac only, and this needs to be cross-platform. Get list of records script step, right? So this was the summary function, right? For those of you, or a summary field, you use a summary field to get all the IDs, and then you could do a global to a child relationship through a multi-key relationship, and do this where you could isolate and grab a found set. Instead of all the shenanigans that go on with that, it's in fact, Nick Hunter, who's watching, a lot of you like Nick Hunter, he's here watching this, he's already going to take his techniques for doing that and simplify them with this right here. Whoop, let me go backwards. With this, I can't click on this. If I click, it goes forward. So with this right here, also, if you're in custom functions, right, and you use a lot of custom functions, kind of some low-hanging fruit stuff here. This is where you can organize the custom functions into a hierarchical organization with folders and stuff. Real quick, get text from PDF. It's going to be pretty straightforward. Looking forward to that. Once again, this is just a high-level view, and Rick and I decided we weren't going to super dive into this. Rick, just feel free to, you have to wave or interrupt, because I'm just going to keep motoring at full speed.
Yeah. So let me say that the thing I'd say about this get text from PDF is something that people have been asking for as long as we've supported PDFs and container fields, right? And this isn't necessarily AI, but obviously can be leveraged very heavily by our AI functionality. But it's just a way to be able to pull the text out of what's in the PDF and then do things like searches and that sort of thing. So come in very handy, very straightforward to do.
Go to list of records, right? So this is this right here. So it's where you have a list of record IDs, blah, 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 and you can isolate a found set, which is really handy dandy. Found set manipulation. We talked about that. We'll play with this. Once again, this will be probably a whole live stream. This one right here will be with Nick Hunter, probably in 5 or 6 weeks. We'll have that. This, I had a couple of my engineers about wet their pants. They were so excited about this, which is it's so simple, right? It's like, what would, Ricky, we call those quality of life improvements, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, so this is a folder where we have all your custom functions that are in there, pretty basic, straightforward. Oh, look, C code's in there. All right, cool. All sorts of good stuff in here. All right, moving forward, this is a good one. This is probably, without the AI stuff, this is probably one of my more favorite features. It's code folding. Now, I have no idea how we got to collapse script parts, probably because marketing didn't like the term code folding. It's not a trademark term. We checked that this morning. The idea is that you have a block of code, like an if statement or something. It's got a little arrow and you can turn it like a little, and it, all right? So you can see the top of the script and the bottom of the script, because somewhere in the top of the bottom is where it's gone gone off the rails. So it's a lot easier to see things. There's a minor Mac OS refresh, and so and Rick knows this is coming, so he should be prepared for this question. But so if you look at FileMaker 22 on the Mac, which we can do if we have time, it's not like really rearranged. It's like someone went in there and changed the icons. They did some minor tweaking of the UI, and you can tell it's different. But that refresh didn't make its way to Windows. So I would ask Rick, why not? And what's the plan for that?
So there are a few things that we were to pick up on Windows. We decided to start with Mac OS, and frankly, because we're doing so much now with Apple and education, that we felt that was the higher priority to make sure that that it was. We went in with the fonts and the icons and the spacing and made it more consistent with what you expect from Apple. That's really sort of the first salvo. Then we'll go in deeper into the product, into the inspectors and there as well. There's been a refresh in what the table view looks like. When you first launch FileMaker Pro, there's new layouts and that sort of thing. If you're launching from the trial, there's a new look and that sort. So it's just freshening it up a little bit.
Cool. So then another common request, another quality of life improvement for developers is this adding objects to existing groups without disassembling the group, right?
Oh, that's going to be so nice.
There's another, because Margaret's been building solutions and she's like, oh yeah, thank you. We needed that.
Yeah, another developer quality of life enhancement for sure. Again, this is something that people have been unhappy with having to wrestle with for years and years and years. So we were able to go in and fix it.
Absolutely. All right, next click. So there's a little video here that's playing. So you can see, if I go back and play this again, just watch, they're hitting these arrows here and it's the code kind of collapses. So you're going from line 15 to line 25 to line 35, line 42. All the other lines are still in there. They're just been rolled in, and so it's pretty neat, right? Kind of a nice thing to have. I'm glad it's here. Thank you for that. Greatly appreciate it. So then we have, let me see, this one demoed all or not related to the whole group thing, right? So
that was just the refresh stuff.
The refresh, yeah, because the artwork is slightly different through here, and so the little areas of things, and once again, I would hope that eventually that'll come to Windows with parity, but that'll depend. Because remember, at the end of the day, everyone, Claris is Apple, right? So when they run around the building, they wear Apple badges. They don't wear Claris badges. They wear Apple badges. So, all right, moving forward, add remove group. Here it is right here. Add to group. There it is, Command G. Okay. Group, ungroup, add to group. Cool. Like that one. Oh, so this actually started a huge conversation within my team this morning, and not the first one. The first one is kind of part of Nick's operation of getting. So remember how we get all the IDs is we used a summary field with a list function, right? Everyone, that's kind of this old school kind of backwards way. So we have a summary field that would give you a list of all these values from the current found set. It's a field definition. It's kind of unwieldy like that. This is a get function that will essentially do that at a script level, so you can precisely control when it fires, which is really awesome. Next one down is JSON parse, right? So my JSON people are very excited about this. Yeah, Nick is saying finally. Oh, collapsing. Yeah. So other questions about this?
I am collecting questions at an aggravated rate, so I was gonna let you wrap up a little bit and then dive into the stack.
Molo Tovik says the collapsing code is early in FileMaker. We finally have it, although it's a bit slow at the moment. Yeah, if anything is slow, I'm sure that what you need to do is if you send a complaint to Claris about it, then they will add that to the votes of people. So here's what's really important, and Rick used to do this. He doesn't do this so much anymore, but the way Claris knows what to fix is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And so if you see a squeaky wheel, I will have to ask Rick how they want us to submit this, but if 100 people submit a complaint on a topic, it's going to get fixed. If Molotov cocktail complains, it's not very it's not very fast on the code folding, but he or she doesn't say anything, and no one else says anything, then Claris thinks it's great and it's wonderful, and they shouldn't fix it. So only if you complain will they get the vibe on fixing stuff. So Rick, if we want to have a question or comment, where do we submit it these days?
So the two best places are to use the report a problem, which goes directly into support, which then they set up a case and they get enumerated that way. So for instance, if there's 50 people that have mentioned something, that's a big deal, right? And we know that. The other way to do that is simply make a post on the community. We watch those, and as those threads build up, that's one of our early sort of canary in the coal mine. That there's something going on in the product, a lot of times it's discussed first on the community, and we can begin to follow it. And then based on what other people are saying, it's a very quick way to get a sense of the gravity of it. So either one of those would work. Probably the most official way is to go through, report a product issue that goes directly to support, but the community works just as well. So, and then worst case, you can always send it to me, and I'll send it off to the proper place. So,
yeah, for those of you, it's Rick_Kalman with a K. And that would be your backup plan for that. There's a lot of good questions here.
Yes.
Bruce and Kevin. Yeah,
let me parse it. Yes. So we're going to start from the very top, from the oldest question, which kind of got answered by Bev, but I'm going to ask it out loud because people brought it up. Have you found a workaround requiring FM22 to be the only installation on a PC? A couple people said that they had to delete all their old versions of FileMaker before they could install FM22 on the PC.
It's back up. It's right here. It's this item right here. Previously, in major release of Pro Release, they were installed alongside the previous version, okay? This is for developers, everyone, right? Does that make sense? So this is the idea of having 5 copies of FileMaker, like if I go on my computer here and I flip this open, how many copies of FileMaker do I have on here? Oh, Margaret cleaned them out. Only one on this computer. Normally I have 4 or 5 copies going back to 19 dot whatever. And so what they're doing is that if you do it now on Windows, it's going to only put 1 in there if you run through the update process. Now, Rick, I don't know if you know the answer to this. If we do a manual install, will it not blow out the other copies of FileMaker on Windows? Because
I don't know that one way. I haven't not heard that. Could be, but I haven't heard.
Yeah, so here's the deal, and I will just simply state all of this. If you folks want to mention this, if you're running into this is another one you'd mention in the comments of the forums. As a developer, I want multiple copies on FileMaker on my computer. As for my customers, I want them on a short leash, like a 5-foot doggy leash, a very short leash. I only want them with one version on their computer. So it makes sense for end users or customers. For the developers, we need however many we could stick on the computer at once. An arsenal was great. So yeah.
Christian Schmitz has kind of an answer to this because of course he does. You can have multiple FileMaker versions installed on Windows. You need to duplicate the old FileMaker Pro folder and rename it before you install the new version. So that way it doesn't override.
Okay, Margaret, I want you to repeat that one more time slowly.
Yes. You can have multiple FileMaker versions installed. You need to duplicate the old FileMaker Pro folder and rename it before deinstalling the old version and installing the new version.
Okay, let me help with that. So before you go through this process, take your copy of FileMaker, wherever it's at. On the Mac, it's just simply a file, but you take the whole, because doesn't matter. This is a bunch of little files in this on the Mac. On Windows, you're gonna right click it, you're gonna say duplicate, then you'll give it a name like 19 or 20 or 21 or whatever version it is. Then then you do the install of the new version 22. That way it finds one to replace and it gets rid of it. But then you have the old one still preserved on there. So that's your hot tip on Windows, right? Cool.
Okay, we have other questions.
Okay.
We're going to rattle these off. Does the Let's Encrypt do the acquisition and renewals all from the admin console?
It does. Yep. That's the new enhancement.
Yep, and you will see that on Friday. So come to Friday's live stream, everyone. Once again, if you missed Margaret, can you just post it again to all 3 threads? We have 4 weeks of awesome content, and this coming Friday in 3 days or 4 days or whatever it is, will be a 1 hour live stream at this time slot on Let's Encrypt. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. I'm gonna specifically demo that. Actually, that's like the point of that stream. So
okay, cool.
If you have questions, come Friday.
Yes. Okay. So, did you forget the App Assistant add-on? I can't find it.
The App Assistant add-on, I believe it will come out. I don't believe it's out yet. I think it'll be an engineering blog, and you'll be able to install a new add-on using the JavaScript and the web viewer in order to play around with semantic search as well.
Okay. Other questions, Margaret? Keep rolling.
Yes. Has version 20 been officially depreciated?
Deprecated.
Oh, sorry.
Claris only supports 2 years worth, right? And so I don't think they're supporting 20 officially. Are we? Are we officially supporting 20?
That was TBD for a time period until the 21 bugs got worked out. But I don't know if the support page has updated its TBD, to be determined, TBD determination.
Okay, so the question is, whoever's asked that question, if it's still supported, it's barely supported, and it's probably not going to be supported soon, because Claris doesn't. Yeah, they're only going to support the current market and product for the current year, which is now 22, and then the last year's one, which is 21, and so 20, it's going to get dropped or whatever, soon.
And not to speak for Claris, but again, 22 Pro and Go can't talk to a 20 server. So whether 20 is officially declared, dead, no longer supported by Claris, like you're going to have that kind of maintenance type issue anyway. And so if you're still on 20, you should look at 21 or 22.
Cool.
Okay, more questions?
Keep going, Marks.
Yep. Since you've added folders for custom functions, do you intend to add folders for value lists?
Potentially. It's not something that I've seen directly on our radar. If it's not showing up, but we do have a public backlog that we publish. I don't see it in there. So certainly we've talked about all of these things over the years, but it's not on the direct horizon, but sometimes these things slip in if they're easy to pull off and there's enough demand for it.
There we go. There's the shiny. You're muted, by the way, RC.
Sorry, there we go. So then you can drag something in here. Is that what you do? Ooh, there it goes. That's nice. See that? Yeah. All right.
Swifty. Okay, so I just did a test with the 100-page PDF that is a scanned document, and the get text from PDF just returned a question mark. So it doesn't do OCR? Are there like requirements for that function to work, or script step? Script step or function?
Yeah, I haven't played with that feature yet. I'm assuming that will come up in more detail. But Rick, do you know if that get text, is that dependent upon an AI model being installed or something like that, or is it actually?
No, it's not. It doesn't depend on an AI model. There are, and I think it would be if you look at the latest online help for FileMaker 2025. I believe there are certain things, like if it's locked or other, has some security on it, that it can't do, or if it's all an image, it's not going to be able to do that. Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know any deeper than that.
What was it called? Get? What's it called? Is it a get function? Is it get or is it get?
Get text from PDF.
Yeah. Is it PDF?
I wonder if it's returning a question mark because it's a 100-page PDF, and that's more letters than we can return in a calc result or something.
There you go. Yeah, so
this is
not OCR. It's not OCR because if it's scanned, then it's an image. Okay. So it's pulling the text out. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to dive into this, but
it has to be a real PDF.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything to the audience, but I'm just for those of you who know what I mean by that statement, that is the information that you're looking for. If what you have is a PDF that is actually 100 pages of images of pictures of those pages, this won't help you. If what you have is a real PDF that is like a text document that happens to be in a funny format, portable document format, you will be able to pull your text out immediately.
Yep.
That's okay.
I'm not going to get too deep into this because that's another big conversation. Is the save as a copy is XML, but this is for mostly for people like Todd Geist and Vince Bonanno and I guess David. What's David from Proof Guys? What's his name? David Ramsey, right? I think that's his name. And
Yes.
they make utility applications that talk to FileMaker or base elements, that kind of NICOR, and they're reading XML, and so they made some improvements into that, and that continues to be a ongoing development project. Okay, I'm going to move forward here, and here's the server. Mark, you have more questions along the way as we're kind of hammering all this at like drinking out of the fire hose?
Yes, but they become more, they're not feature questions, they're about Claris questions, if that makes sense. Like discussions about FDS freemium, when can we ask for new features, that kind of stuff. So,
Okay, well, let me just ask the question real quick. We'll get this out of the way. So before 28 people ask me for this. So Rick Kalman, when do we get freemium?
Don't know.
Okay, doesn't know. Next question, Margaret. Not today would be the answer. So
yeah, it's not something we announced today. Yes, we are well aware of the desire for it and the potential huge upside for sure. It's been quite a discussion for a number of years.
Conversation about MBS. By the way, from Monkey Bread, one of our big supporters here on the live stream, Monkey Bread from Christian Schmidt is fully compatible with FileMaker version 22. In the year 2020.
I saw that. Thank you, Christian. It was really nice to come on the day of launch. So.
Yeah, he's so great. It's so awesome.
Yep.
Can you copy and paste custom function folders between files?
I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, don't know that. The answer off the top of my head.
Well, but to be clear, if you have FileMaker 22 on your computer, you could probably test it faster than you can ask the question. So just feel free to try that and then let us know what happens.
Let us know what occurred. Yeah.
Yeah, let us know. We're all together here on this. Upgrade tool enhancement. Improve JSON performance. There's some server performance items going in here that looks good. Upgrade tool enhancements. Once again, this has to do with Auto, right? Like Auto and all these products that interact with FileMaker. Claris is continuing to build the back end to support the communication to these third-party apps. Like we did a live stream on Auto, Rick. I don't know if we talked about this, but I was blown away. I had Todd on the show, Todd Geist on the show, and he was on for a week, but we quit listening on Wednesday because he gave us so much awesome stuff that we couldn't handle anymore, and our heads exploded. And literally, he's like, "Was anyone here?" And I said, "Dude, we're still thinking about what you said 2 days ago." Yeah. Right? Seriously. And I mean that in a great way, but that's audit. So these products here, helping the developer community, us, Beverly, all the developers here, all the people here that make products, Christian Schmidt, making it so we can tap into FileMaker and extend it without Claris having to actually do that extension ourselves. If they just build the infrastructure for us to tap into, we can do great stuff. So performance improvements, once again, if you see the words reducing memory leaks, improving parallel, this is all really good stuff. So I expect probably we need to do, Margaret, make a note, we can call Hansa and have him do a performance test on the server. He can come on the show and then he'll grade you.
He has already taken all of my August Fridays, so I assume that'll probably be one of those discussions.
So Rick, go ahead, Rick.
Hansa, by the way, Hansa told us that the JSON is radically faster, right? I'm talking 12 to 15 times faster for some stuff. And the thing you got to understand about that, like our RESTful APIs, JSON is becoming the workhorse for FileMaker and its integration with the rest of the world, and it's heavily leveraged also by AI. So anytime you can eke performance out of it, and then I'm expecting with a lot of the tweaking we've been doing behind the scenes with with memory leaks, and that we're going to make that server really boring and just stay up, and you'd almost never have to pay attention to it.
Okay, you just threw yourself a softball. This is a Terry Barwegan softball. You threw it to yourself. Now you're going to run and catch a softball. So here, you ready for this softball question? Rick, what do you mean by being boring? Could you elaborate, please?
What I mean by boring is you don't regularly get a customer telling you it's happened again. I can't, my my users can't access my system, and you go in and maybe restart it or whatever, it has to do. But in the meantime, especially if it's mission critical to your customer, they're not very happy with you. They're not very happy with Claris. We don't want that. We want to sell you a server and it does what they said it does, and it's utterly boring because you don't have to pay attention to it unless you're doing the normal maintenance that you would do as a server admin.
Boring servers are good. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Boring servers are good. Spicy servers suck. So yeah, we don't want spicy servers.
I dislike coming in on Mondays and having to put fires out, and substantial credit to Claris and their engineering department. I do much less of that these days, and
Lucy
almost
Chen.
none over
Lucy
time.
Chen. I don't know if she's around.
Yep.
I wish she was
Yep.
here. She could hear us clapping for Lucy taking that stuff seriously.
Yeah,
Great.
no, you read my mind. She has made a huge difference and she started a program called Ring Zero. We work directly with people that are having these problems with their server. They work directly with our engineers to understand what's going on. They give them special builds to see if it addresses it. And if it does, then they put it in ETS. So this is going after sort of the best of the worst of the worst. Let's put it that way. And it's been very successful. We've been running that since 19. So, we don't catch everything. A lot of times we'll fix something, we'll increase performance, and it then, or the amount of users, and then it reveals the next thing underneath. It never could be revealed because you couldn't get that much through or that many users attached. So it's one of those things where sometimes like peeling an onion, but we're constantly trying to stabilize and add performance to the server.
Yeah, add it and make it more boring, which is as a marketing person, that's not very exciting. I'm sure marketing hates that, right? So real quick, Jonathan Marcus just sent us a question. And once again, we're back to this AI conversation, which we say there's a lot of AI stuff in here. We're not diving deep into it because it's a many multi-day operation. But Jonathan asked a really great question. Can the script workspace receive copy and paste the text from Chat GPT? Not yet, at least not with anything I've seen yet. Now, the whole idea, what he's talking about is that, hey, it's like, hey Siri, or hey ChatGPT, I need a script that will relationally show me how many Oompa Loompas died in the horrible bus crash last week, but cross-reference with the new supply of Oompa Loompas that are, Charlie in a Chocolate Factory kind of question. And then it writes the code for you. And then you stick it in the FileMaker. I guarantee Claris wants to do that. I guarantee that the community wants them to do that. I don't know how far we are from that. I would be surprised if we didn't start seeing the beginnings of that this calendar year. I have not. Go ahead.
If you go to where I told you before, the public backlog on the community, you will see both one for scripts and one for calculations. There was a demo of I think calcs at the Engage keynote by I believe Ronnie, and yeah, absolutely. We are at the beginning of AI. We first wanted to put all the tools in that you guys would need to be able to then build some awesome AI-enabled solutions for your customers. But then we're also coming back and making it easier for you to write scripts, write calcs, and so on. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to reemphasize something that Rick just said, just so we're all clear. So all the AI stuff is going to generally fall into two buckets. It's going to either be AI things that the end user somehow are interacting with, so it's an end user facing AI thing, or it's a developer facing AI thing where it helps us build something faster. It doesn't mean it's going to build it correctly, but it's going to try to help write it, and it'll even be educational in that sort of way. Here's a horrifying thought, Margaret. Imagine that the AI that helps you write scripts is Richard. Hey, Richard, can I write a report? And it's like, dude, what are you smoking? The first thing it says, right?
At some point, we'll be able to train a model off of your videos. It'll be highly entertaining then.
Oh, man, it'll not be safe for work, right?
So we have some questions that I desire to tackle.
Okay.
First one is someone is mentioning having severe server issues with 24. Where would I send them? Like crashing daily, apparently, which is bad.
Backup. So we're talking FileMaker server.
Yes.
Released in the year 2024, which means it's a server 21. Jacob
previous.
Taylor, go.
Yeah. My advice is longer. In general, they need to contact Claris support specifically, especially if it's routine crashing like that daily. I would call that smoke that there's file damage or something like that, especially if it's repeated. I also have questions if they've done recoveries and this kind of stuff, but reach out to us, reach out to Claris, probably call Claris first since it's crashing and they can help with that. So.
Yep. That's a good question. Questions like that, like if your stuff's on fire right now, or you have a very serious fire, please ask the question. I know it's not really on topic, but I want my goal, and I'm going to say this at the end of the day, I want the developers and developer community to be successful, and so I try to call balls and strikes best I can, and sometimes things are great, and sometimes they're not, and I have to, I'm not paid by Claris, so I take it right down the middle. Rick, generally really good about that, and I appreciate all that, the honesty, because once again, Rick Kalman here was a developer like us for many years before he went to Claris. So he has earned my respect. Not only that, but he also knows when customer, like Rick, I tell people the customer gets frustrated, they pull the plug out of the wall. And when I said that to marketing, they thought I was joking. I said, dude, no, that happens, right? I got someone gets mad at it and he pulls the plug out of the wall to restart the computer, right? And it's really important.
I know 2 different customers who've done that.
Yep. And they're just having a tantrum. And I think most people can't comprehend with that. But as developers and where we live, that's a real possibility. And then they may or may not blame you for what happens afterwards. So yeah, it's all things to consider. So we really appreciate people who give us the honest truth. I always prefer the honest truth. Margaret, go.
Yes. Are there any improvements for WebDirect users? We have a couple serious WebDirect people on our audience.
Yeah. Let me skip forward here. So, blah, blah, blah. API enhancements, we'll skip that. Let's Encrypt. Come back Friday for Let's Encrypt. We keep saying that. That's Friday. More Let's Encrypt stuff. FileMaker Go. Let's just do this real quick. Keyboard navigation support. Okay. Hover state support. If you have a 4000 Apple Vision Pro, please let us know. And you can let me know how that goes. Because I've only seen one ever held by Claris VP's executive team. So I've never seen one, actually someone really used one. Manage FileMaker Go files in the file. Let's see, that might be good. And then iOS 18.4 support. Boy, wait a minute, isn't 18.5 out now?
Yeah, maybe it'll support the latest, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as they change.
Okay,
good. Yeah,
good.
it is 8.5, yeah.
Okay, here we go. WebDirect. So right-click context menu, right-clicking contextual menus are supported. That's a new thing, allowing users to access common operation like copy-paste, blah, blah, blah. Custom homepage configuration. Admin API includes endpoints, managing custom homepage settings. That seems to be a very popular one.
And you can manage it through the admin console now, which is really nice without having to futz around with those special files.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah. The browser back button. So this, if you've done WebDirect, in an ideal world, when I would go into WebDirect, those buttons would disappear, but obviously that's not a JavaScript call that anyone can make to hide the navigation. It's browser, right, forward, backward. If you hit backward on that, it looks like forward record, backward a record, and you hit that and it blows you out. Now it warns you that you're about to do something stupid. Once again, not ideal, but better warning them, because otherwise without this, it logs you out and you jump back to the login page. It's kind of horrible. So this is better, but not great is what I would. Okay, Rick, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give you a 5.5 for this one. Okay. But not really Claris's fault, because the browser people, if you actually allowed the navigational controls at the top to be messed with, I could see where bad developers would make their own menus at the top, and then it seems like a vector for bad people to do bad things. So, but yeah, that's a tricky one. Performance improvements. Hey, Nick Hunter, are you there? Nick Hunter's a big WebDirect fan. Him and I have had some awesome arguments on LiveStream about WebDirect.
He's just yelled in all caps, yes, in in our chat. So
yeah, Nick's currently. Go ahead, Rick.
No, it's me speaking.
Sorry.
I was going to say I'm in agreement with Nick Hunter on modern versions of WebDirect and how awesome they are. Big dinosaurs running around, awesome.
Okay, well, we'll unpack that on another day. Big dinosaurs running around. I have no idea what that means, but we'll unpack that. There's lots of days here. We'll pack another day. All right. This is the context menus, right? So we have that. You can see some of this, which is great. There's the custom homepage configuration. Nice. Okay, so you can manage that. And this is the, okay, so once again, in an ideal world, it's kind of covering over here. There's a forward back arrow button over there. We would just like get rid of that, but we can't get rid of it. So when you go backwards, we could at least say, hey, are you really sure you want to go backwards? Because it's not going to take you backwards. It's going to log you out. That's all it does. So that's at least interesting. FileMaker API stuff. I'm not going to get too deep into this. Once again, it's a much broader conversation. We're running out of time here. Okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on FileMaker Cloud. For those of you who are interested in this is the FileMaker server software that Claris bundles with an Amazon AWS instance, where they package it together and give you a service. There are obviously improvements here with that. We're literally out of time. I want to spend some time on questions. But yeah, schedule maintenance, some other things about local time zones, etc. WebDirect, timeout, security improvements, cloud availability, blah, blah, blah. All sorts of good stuff in here. I'm not going to spend time on Studio. That will be Monday next week. They're going to spend a bunch of time on that. I believe that's a day for that. Bunch of data source stuff. Licensing. The short version of licensing is that now Studio and I think Connect are both part of the license, right, Rick?
Yep. Yeah, so it's been there for a little bit more than a month in the Cloud Console. And today, when we launched in the Server Admin Console, there's a new link that you can just ask to spin up an instance of Studio. Connect comes along with it. As long as you have a valid license, it'll pull that. It all comes with your licensing now, and you don't no longer have to request, fill out a form, and wait a couple of days for us to spin up an instance for you. You can spin it up yourself, and there's information on that. Like Rich said, Robert and Clay will cover that in detail on Monday. And then there's a number of other enhancements they made to Claris Studio that should make it more usable. For instance, completely blowing away the 1,000 record limit. I think it's 100,000 plus, and it's pretty performant. Robert will probably demo that. And the ability to have greater control over what a user in Studio can have access to, so that everyone doesn't see everything, but you can do access control, and then some other things that Studio has enhanced that will nicely complement what we've done. Which is, if you have FileMaker 2025 and Studio, they now interact pretty gracefully with each other, creating schema on either side, and then also leveraging webhooks to be able to communicate that a change has taken place without having to refresh reload the browser or refresh the window.
Yeah, we're doing a high-level overview, Rick, and we were worried that we'd run out of, we wouldn't have enough content, and it's just like, it's not even possible. The platform is getting so big. Do we have other questions? Let me just skip.
Yes. They're stacking when you're not looking.
Okay. Evolve with comments. This is more marketing stuff. Yeah. So let's go with questions. Margaret, can you line up the questions for us?
I'm going to do some basic ones real fast because people are asking for them. Did I see somewhere that I should now be able to update FileMaker 21 to FileMaker 22 just by checking for updates?
Yes, that's something where you can apply it right there from the update mechanism that's already built in, so you can do the full version.
That's assuming your license key that's on your current version is still current, right? I don't know if that'll do that without that. So,
this is an Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Mark.
This is an interesting question. Should I not make any updates to my solution if I update to FileMaker 22 on my Mac until I also update my server to 22?
You can do, your Pro can be 22, your server can be 21. That's as far back as you can go. So you can have a one version spread on that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question.
That's like the standard big discussion about like implementing version specific features and then having one that doesn't match or doesn't support it or something like that. That stuff is generally supported in FileMaker, but what it means is, like, if you're on a 21 server, some of the stuff isn't going to work.
Right.
You, as the application author, the coder with Pro, need to know like what is going to work server side or not, and how those, I'll say fail. I don't mean like explode or break or something, but like it'll skip a script step or something if you're running something server side and the server doesn't support that script step. So there's some implications that you need to manage as the author. That's all.
Cool.
Okay. Questions? Other questions?
How much is max licensing?
The licensing pricing has not changed. The pricing that you're going to pay depends upon the number of seats you're going to buy. If you're buying a single copy of FileMaker Pro, probably what you want to do is just a question right here from Andrew Liverpool about FDS, FileMaker Developer Subscription. Just do a search for that. It's still the cheapest way to probably get into FileMaker. It's the price went up on it. Someone was unhappy about that, but at the end of the day, it's still cheaper than any other way. So with FileMaker Developer FDS, you get a copy of Server that'll run with 3 licenses, and you'll get a copy of Pro that comes with it. So you have a server and then Go, so the server is 3 licenses, but it's only for you for development, for testing. It's not for you to deploy with a company with 3 users. That's not what it's for. So just understand that. So developer subscription, FDS is the cheapest way, but overall pricing has not changed. So whatever it has been, if you buy a 5-pack of FileMaker, I say a 5-pack, I got a 6-pack of beer. I have a 5-pack of FileMaker, which is kind of the entry level for a team. It's like $1,100 or $1,200 or something like that for the year, for the subscription for the year, thereabouts.
Someone asking how many FileMaker users are Windows versus how many are Mac. I don't even know if we want to.
I don't know if Rick wants to hit that. That used to be about 50-50, right, in terms of percentages.
Yeah, it's varied anywhere from 50-50 to 60-40, depending on the era. The 60 being Windows, but in the end, there's probably far more end users with FileMaker Pro on Windows out there deployed, just because Windows is the business operating system of the world. So,
next question.
Will Studio and Connect have very limited versions?
I don't understand the question.
Yeah,
like, are they? What do you mean by limited? Yeah, what do you mean by limited? It's a Twitch question, so it'll be on a 90-second delay.
So the free that comes with your license is up to a certain capacity, right? So many flows, so many views within Claris Studio, but generous enough that you could begin to use it. And then there's a way to go up to the next level if you need more flows, you need unlimited. But just an FYI, at least until the middle of September, we won't enforce any of those limits, so you can get a sense. And then we'll also have something in Studio that will let you know how many views you're consuming or how many flows and that sort of thing, so that you have some information to know where you're at. So that's and then in the information on the website for licensing, it'll give you what the limits are for the version that comes with every license that's supported, which is essentially the volume licenses and the site licenses and the perpetual licenses, as long as you have active maintenance.
Okay. Good. There, the conversation about licensing, real quick. So back to that. So at a 5-pack level, FileMaker is about $115 to $120 per year, some number like that for a 5-pack, which is the most expensive tier. If you buy like 100 seats of it, the price goes down considerably on a per user basis, to the point where I've seen it as low as $20 or $30 per user. But you have to buy like 1,000 seats to get a deal like that. So just keep that in mind. The more you buy, the cheaper per unit price it goes down. And
also you can buy multiple years and the price goes down as well. So if you get into a 2-year, a 3-year, a 5-year, and so the two of those in combination, you can get a pretty good price.
Okay, other questions, Beverly?
When will Claris Cloud be automatically updated? We need to update all of our computers accessing Claris Cloud before that hits.
Historically, and I don't. The answer to this has been when Claris wrote the engineering group at Claris wrote a routine that when like 80% of the clients were running a compatible version, it would auto update itself, kind of thing, and not tell you until it just did it. But I don't know what it's doing right now. So yeah, that's one of those things. You have to check that out. Someone's asking me when are we going to get when FDS is going to have Connect and Studio in it. Yeah, that's a separate nut to crack entirely. I don't know how that'll work. It's been something we've asked for a long time. I think that's someone said mentioned it goes along with the Beverly saying along with the freemium planning. Once again, that's those are things that listen. If I'm being vague, it's because they haven't said anything about it recently to me, which means it's probably not on Claris's front burner, right? By the way, I want to thank personally. I want to thank Josh Orman. Josh, are you there? Are you listening? Josh, I was at Claris Engage, and he had some problems with his FileMaker server. When he had problems with the FileMaker server, he brought it to Claris Engineering attention. He was insistent that it was a problem, and Claris Engineering took his bugs, at least the ones that we talked about at Engage, and they corrected them and dispensed them out. So if you're getting the latest version of 21 server, it's got Josh Orman's bug reports in there, right? Multiprocessor issues with PSOS and stuff like that. Yeah. He did very, very great. Bad English. He did very, very well in bringing that to Claris' attention and being insistent upon it. He's a very technical person. He helps. So when you report bugs and problems to Claris or you're unhappy about something, let Claris know because you're not the only one who has the issue. Okay? Super important.
Or let Josh know. He's an MVP, and he'll let Rosemary know, and and then we'll all know.
There we go. You can do that too.
Only questions now we have are the spicy fun ones. So
okay, we'll spend 5 minutes on spicy fun, and we'll say we'll wrap this up by another 5 minutes. So go. You're cleared for spiciness. Go.
You can guess it's going to come out of my mouth. When do we get an Android version?
I can have fun with that, but I'm not going to like throw gasoline on the fire. I'll simply say Claris is not currently talking about that. And Rick is not saying anything. So I would not expect, once again, this is Apple, and Apple doesn't feel like they should port Android. And even if they did, there's other, like really, if you think about where the investment go, I think the AI thing is far bigger thing than just supporting Android. Because if WebDirect works really, really well, then mostly you have Android kind of covered. But that's what WebDirect was for. At the end of the day, people, I'm going to use WebDirect on my Mac. If you're on a Mac or Windows, you're using Pro, right? Probably most cases. But WebDirect really, why it was such a big deal is it gave us support for Android.
Here's another spicy fun one in the old traditional style, horizontal portals.
Yeah, Rick, where's my horizontal portals? What kind of company is this? Okay. You can code your own horizontal portals with a bunch of trickiness. There's no one checkbox that does this. However, Christian Schmidt, being the innovator that he is, will probably come up with a way of building that for us. Or a JavaScript object or something you could drop in there. That'd be kind of cool. All right, next question. We got 3 minutes left, and we have to end the show.
I think we're mostly good, honestly.
We're good, everyone. All right, so as a recap, once again, I'm going to end with this real quick. Tomorrow, be there, B Square, 8 a.m. with Claris at a Claris live event with Rosemary. She sent me a note saying that she was going to put more explosions in the show than we do. If you see us during the live streams, the opening close, there's explosions. She said that she had approval from Ryan McCann to add explosions to the show. We're looking forward to that. That's at 8 a.m. with AI features with Ronnie Rios. And is that Todd tomorrow? I think that's Todd.
Yep.
Very cool. And then in the afternoon, they're going to be back on this show, kind of picking up that conversation, doing Q&A. So good. All right, Rick, I greatly appreciate it.
Other than that, Rich, there's nothing to talk about.
There's nothing to talk about. All right, with that, we're out of here. See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.